Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a journey, maybe more like an exploration, really, into a collection of source materials that I have to say revealed this whole hidden layer of reality I didn't even know was like a thing. We're going to unpack the lives and, well, these extraordinary abilities of individuals known as strong creatives. These are people who quite literally seem to make their thoughts and dreams manifest in our shared world. It's a concept that's definitely left me questioning a lot of things.
Absolutely. And the tangible nature of these events, that's what's key here, as documented in our sources. That's precisely what makes them so unsettling, so compelling.
Right.
So today's deep dive focuses on the fascinating and, often terrifying ways these creative powers can, like, reshape geography, influence minds, even physically transform people. It's wild stuff.
Yeah.
Our mission, really, is to try and understand how these unique individuals wield their knives, these intensely personal totems or vehicles that allow them to, quite literally, cut the stitches between worlds.
Cut the stitches.
Yeah. And explore what happens when their inner landscapes, their inscapes, collide with our everyday reality. So prepare for some surprising facts and maybe, just maybe, a few aha moments that might make you redefine the boundaries of what you thought was possible.
Okay, let's dive in then. Let's unpack this with our first strong creative, Victoria McQueen, or Vic. Our journey starts in Haverhill, Massachusetts, specifically back in the late 1980s.
Right.
Even as a child, Vic stumbled upon this, extraordinary ability. The sources give us a pretty raw, intimate glimpse into her childhood. It sounds pretty tough, marked by constant family arguments.
Yeah, the tension sounds palpable.
And her father had this really unique and kind of dangerous job as a blaster. The source literally says he blew shit up and rode away on a Harley.
Which paints quite a picture, doesn't it? Not exactly your typical 9-to-5.
Not at all. And then there's her mother, desperately, almost obsessively, searching for a lost bracelet. It's against this backdrop, this everyday domestic turmoil and these, fractured relationships, that something truly remarkable, something seemingly impossible first emerges.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how an ordinary childhood frustration, this relentless search for that lost bracelet, which the mother, kind of spiraling, was convinced a maid had stolen.
Yeah, that paranoia comes through.
Exactly. That seems to be the unwitting catalyst for Vic's innate extraordinary ability. Imagine the scene. She's just 8 years old. She's just endured her father delivering this brutal verbal assault on her mother, saying things like, "What an ugly fucking person you are inside. And I had a kid with you." Awful stuff.
Just devastating for a child to hear.
Absolutely. So Vic retreats from the house. She gets on her Raleigh bicycle, feeling that raw, profound emotional pain, that real yearning for escape. And that's when she literally stumbles upon the shorter way.
Stumbles upon it, like physically.
Physically. The sources describe it not merely as a place, but as a phenomenon, a covered bridge that miraculously appears right when she needs it most. It's described as crossing the distance between lost and found, a kind of metaphorical passage made physically real.
Wow.
And she actually enters this space. It's described as a subterranean darkness that reeked of bats and rot, with chain links rattled and banged beneath her tires. So it's very sensory, very real for her.
So not just a feeling, a physical place.
A physical place. And the bridge itself is described as an architectural impossibility, stuffed into a space that could barely contain it, twisting and turning in ways that just defy normal geometry.
Okay, so where does it take her if it's between lost and found?
Well, the destination is unexpected, but it's perfectly aligned with her immediate kind of childish need at that moment. Terry's Primo Subs, a place she had just eaten lunch at. But suddenly there's across state lines in New Hampshire.
She biked across state lines in minutes.
Effectively, yes. Teleported, almost. The sensation of travel is described vividly: a dreamy awareness of gliding, a distant sense of static roaring. And there are physical effects, too. A prickling heat rose to the backs of her eyes, and her left eye throbbed with the effort.
So it takes a toll on her.
It seems so. This initial, almost accidental experience, it immediately establishes Vic as a strong creative, even though she doesn't fully grasp the magnitude of it yet, not at 8 years old.
Right.
Her Raleigh bicycle, this humble, everyday object that acts as her knife, her personal totem, her tool that lets her access and manipulate reality, even if, as the sources put it, she's simply daydreaming the bridge into existence.
Daydreaming it into existence, but it's real enough to travel through.
That's the crux of it. This blurring of the lines between perception and objective truth, where belief Her intense need actively shapes reality. That becomes a central, unsettling theme throughout Vic's journey, and it forces us, the listeners, to constantly reevaluate what's truly real within this whole narrative.
Okay, so her bike is the knife, the bridge is the manifestation, but you mentioned it impacts others. This knife of hers, the shorter way bridge, it didn't just affect Vic.
No, not at all. And this is where it gets really compelling and frankly disturbing. It had a profound, often terrifying impact on others. This is where the lines of reality truly start to blur for the people around her.
Like who?
We learned about a Mr. Euclid. He was an old janitor and crossing guard at her school. And he had his own tragic past, a really heartbreaking one. His children had died in a house fire that he accidentally started while drunk. Years ago, but still, a deep trauma.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. So the question becomes, if this bridge was just Vic's personal delusion, right, a coping mechanism for a troubled kid, why would it affect someone else so dramatically? Why would it dredge up his deepest traumas?
Exactly. That doesn't fit the it's all in her head idea.
Not even slightly. And this raises a fundamental question about the nature of these escapes, these inner worlds made real. When Mr. Euclid sees the shorter-way bridge appear right there, unyieldingly, in his school hallway, his reaction is one of extreme physical and psychological distress.
He sees it too, inside the school.
Inside the school hallway. The sources vividly describe him trembling violently, his mouth opening and closing like a goldfish's. He shrieks at Vic, "Go away!" You can almost hear his down east accent, the McQueen gill.
Oh, wow.
And in his profound distress, he starts quoting scripture, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," like he's trying to ward off some kind of evil, some horror he can't comprehend.
He thinks it's demonic.
Or just profoundly wrong. His internal thought, which the source gives us, is that 71 was still old enough for a heart attack. That highlights the very real physiological terror this experience inflicts on him. It wasn't just a hallucination for him, it was a tangible, terrifying intrusion into his reality.
And what happens to him after?
Well, later, this single encounter triggers a complete and devastating breakdown. He falls off the wagon after 30 years of sobriety. He gets picked up by the police, shouting at it like a madman, presumably shouting at the memory or the lingering presence of the bridge in his mind.
30 years. Gone. Just like that.
Just like that. And ultimately, he quits his job in shame, declaring he can't ever go back. He cannot unsee what he saw. This traumatic validation, as Vic herself later acknowledges, makes him proof that the shorter way was real.
So his reaction validates her delusion.
It powerfully suggests that if Vic's ability manifests as a delusion for her, maybe as a way for her mind to process it, it certainly has a tangible, traumatic, and profoundly real impact on the physical and mental state of others, like Mr. Euclid. It validates the bridge's objective existence beyond Vic's personal perception. It establishes it as something that directly touches and, often shatters the shared world.
The fact that her daydream has such devastating real-world consequences for someone else, it's chilling.
It's a chilling testament to the power of a strong creative's escape. It's not contained, it leaks, it affects people.
Okay, so the shorter way bridge and Mr. Euclid, that gives us a glimpse into the unintended, almost chaotic nature of Vic's emerging power. It just happens. But what happens when a creative's imaginative world isn't just wild, but it's deliberately corrupted? Weaponized, even.
Well, that brings us to our next figure, Bing Partridge, a character whose inner landscape, his inscape, was shaped by a childhood that makes Vic's look, well, almost normal by comparison. It's far darker, far more disturbing.
Really? How so?
Our sources give us this truly unsettling look into his childhood Christmases, which, for most kids are about joy and presents. For Bing, they weren't filled with innocent joy. They were centered around his father's combat gear from the Korean War.
Combat gear at Christmas.
Specifically, a menacing gas mask and a dented helmet. The seemingly small detail, it really hits at the deep, dark undercurrents that shaped Bing from a very young age.
That's deeply weird.
And sad. And this psychological foundation is absolutely critical to understanding Bing later on. His father, the veteran, instilled in him this brutal, dehumanizing worldview. He told Bing the gas mask was the last thing they ever saw before he killed, quote, 3 yellow men in the dirt.
Oh my God, telling that to a child?
Yeah, and he ruthlessly mocked Bing's courage, taunting him, "I'd be scared if I thought you had the balls."
Yeah.
So relentless emotional abuse coupled with this casual cruelty created this deep-seated wound in Bing.
You can see how that would mess someone up.
Definitely. The sources even recount this chilling childhood game where Bing pretended to kill his mother too, and she responded with brittle, nervous laughter and these pious interjections. It's just broken.
The whole family dynamic sounds incredibly toxic.
Extremely. And this early exposure to violence and emotional neglect, it culminates in this shocking act later in his life when Bing, as an adult, shoots his father with a nail gun.
He shoots his own father.
With a nail gun. And the sources chillingly state the nail gun went off. It creates this almost passive yet deeply disturbing description of this violent, maybe desperate act.
Wow.
So this extreme abusive upbringing, it's tragically juxtaposed with this desperate yearning Bing has for idyllic Christmases, for that feeling of safety and love, specifically his mother's unqualified, though maybe fragile, love. Her saying, "I love you more than anything."
He's searching for something he never really had.
Exactly. He longed to feel like it was Christmas morning every single day, to experience that pure, unconditional love and acceptance. And he becomes willing to do anything to achieve that feeling, no matter the cost, no matter how twisted it gets.
Which makes him vulnerable.
Precisely. His psychological profile, deeply scarred by this past, made him the perfect canvas for Charlie Manx's malevolent manipulations. He was primed for it.
Charlie Manx. Okay, so this is where their paths cross. Years later, Bing encounters Manx, and his life takes an even darker, more twisted turn. Down into pure horror, it sounds like.
That's putting it mildly. He becomes Manx's devoted accomplice, the chilling figure known as the Gas Mask Man, operating out of his own warped domain, the House of Sleep.
The House of Sleep. That sounds ominous.
It is. It's a truly disturbing partnership, almost symbiotic, built on this completely perverted ideology of salvation.
Salvation? How does Bing justify what he does?
This is where Bing really solidifies his role as Manx's Renfield figure. That's a term Maggie Lee, another creative we'll meet, uses later. It describes a loyal but deeply disturbed follower of a master. And Manx, of course, is the master, the road vampire.
Renfield, like from Dracula. Okay.
Exactly like that. Yeah. Bing genuinely sees himself as saving the mommies, the mothers of the children Manx abducts. He believes he's performing this twisted form of rehabilitation on them, claiming to teach them kindness and love and how to suck cock before their inevitable demise in his quiet room downstairs.
He kills them after teaching them.
Yes. He's utterly convinced he's taking something awful and making something good of it. It's this deeply diluted justification for his horrific acts, clearly born from his own unfulfilled emotional needs. His need for control, maybe, for love, however warped.
It's a terrifying rationalization.
It is. The sources mention his 9 missions in all in Saving Children for Christmasland, highlighting the repetitive, almost ritualistic nature of his atrocities. His last mommy, a woman named Cynthia Macaulay, was, in his warped mind, saved as well before she died.
Saved by being murdered.
In his view, yes. And he meticulously stores the license plates from Manx's car as these grotesque trophies, a collection of macabre mementos from his dark servitude.
Like a serial killer keeping souvenirs.
Precisely. These are stored alongside empty stolen tanks of sevoflurane, that's the gingerbread smoke he uses to subdue the children, and his daddy's .45, which further ties his present depravity directly back to his traumatic past.
It's all connected.
Deeply. The implication here is profound. Bing embodies this perverted form of love and salvation, driven entirely by his own warped emotional needs, his desperate craving for the feeling of being loved and valued, of being good. He's the ultimate enabler for Manx.
He allows Manx's escape, Christmasland, to expand its reach.
Exactly. He's a terrifying example of how deep-seated psychological wounds can be exploited and completely perverted by a charismatic, malevolent force like Manx. He doesn't just assist Manx, he actively participates. He becomes a horrifying extension of Christmasland itself.
And Bing's internal turmoil, this justification versus the horror, does it manifest anywhere else?
Oh, absolutely. His abandonment of God, his descent into Manx's twisted ideology, it's also powerfully reflected in his relationship with an abandoned church nearby, the New American Faith Tabernacle, which he eventually sets fire to.
He burns down a church. Why?
It's an incredibly symbolic act, isn't it? Almost a ritual of self-damnation, or maybe twisted self-justification. The church, once a place of worship, becomes this potent physical symbol of Bing's profound abandonment of God and also his growing internal unease with his own horrific actions.
He feels guilty then, somewhere deep down.
It seems so. The sources detail how its emptiness frightens him, how he imagines it despised him for abandoning it and abandoning God. So this isn't just a derelict building in his mind, it's a living accusation.
Wow.
And crucially, the shadow of the steeple acts as an accusing finger that points directly at his house, almost screaming. In his imagination, here is a deadly killer, 9 dead women in his basement.
That's vivid. The guilt is literally pointing at him.
It's the manifestation of his burgeoning guilt, yeah. a psychological torment he cannot escape. And the physical state of the church mirrors his own decay. The pews are crooked as Mr. Manx's teeth. There's broken glass, the smell of bird piss. It emphasizes its decay, mirroring Bing's own moral and spiritual decline.
So burning it is, getting rid of the evidence, silencing the accuser.
Maybe all of the above. His ritualistic burning of the church, including setting the figure of Jesus in a robe of flame, isn't just arson. It feels like a horrifying act of perverse salvation or self-justification, an attempt to cleanse himself by destroying the symbol of his torment. It just underscores his complete immersion in Manx's twisted ideology, where destruction and perversion are somehow reframed as acts of good and salvation.
It shows how his inner world, however disturbed, manifests externally.
Exactly. Driven by this deep-seated need to resolve internal conflict, however twisted and horrific the resolution might be. It's a chilling example of his total surrender to Manx's escape to Christmasland's values.
Okay, so we have Vic and her bridge, Bing and his house of sleep. But at the center of this disturbing web of interwoven realities, these colliding escapes, is Charles Talent Manx.
Maestro himself.
Described as an ancient being, a road vampire. His very existence, his power, his malevolence, they're intimately tied to his antique car, right? A 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith.
The Wraith, yes.
With that deeply unsettling vanity plate, NOS4A2, which he apparently explains as a dark joke, a nod to his first wife calling him a Nosferatu.
Which is chilling in itself, isn't it? Just casually referencing that.
It really is. This car is clearly far more than just a vehicle. It feels like a living, breathing extension of his twisted will.
That's exactly right. Manx isn't merely a kidnapper, not in the conventional sense. He's an ancient entity who quite literally feeds off the life force of children, draining their happiness, their joy, their very souls, and gradually transforming them into something monstrous.
He feeds on them. How?
The sources imply it's through the journey in the Wraith into his inscape. His car, the Wraith, is his quintessential knife, his primary totem. It's the vehicle that transports him and his innocent victims into his personal escape, which he chillingly calls Christmasland.
Christmasland. It sounds so benign.
Deliberately so, I think. He presents his horrific actions as saving children from bad homes, from abusive parents. It's a grotesque perversion of compassion. He embodies this perverse, unwavering sense of moral certainty. He even states with this chilling conviction, the fires of hell are not hot enough for a man or woman who would hurt his children.
So he genuinely thinks he's the good guy here.
It certainly seems that way. That's the core of his twisted philosophy. He believes he's a benevolent force, despite the unspeakable horror he inflicts. His appearance is also described quite specifically and frankly unsettlingly. He has the soft, faded look of sea glass in his eyes, a long, harrowed face, a pronounced overbite, and teeth that are a little crooked, described by some as ferret-like.
Okay, like creepy.
It's an unsettling combination of features, yeah. And coupled with his chillingly self-righteous rhetoric, it truly exposes the heart of Manx's twisted logic. He truly believes he's doing good by taking these children, even as he transforms them into these monstrous, fanged creatures who, as he casually mentions about a previous follower named Dewey Handsome, absolutely ate him up.
Ate him up, literally.
The implication is certainly there. His existence is a terrifying example of an escape that fully consumes and weaponizes reality for its creator's malevolent purpose. It completely blurs the lines between savior and predator, good and evil.
And the sources give us glimpses into Christmasland itself, and what happens to the children he saves. You said it's presented as a place where no one grew old and unhappiness was against the law. A false paradise.
Exactly. A false paradise built on unimaginable suffering. The children aren't merely kidnapped, they are physically and emotionally warped into something grotesque and horrifying, stripped of their innocence, their individuality.
How are they described?
They become creatures that could only live in the cold space of the Wraith's imagination, eternally trapped as these distorted reflections of childhood. The descriptions are haunting, specific, painting this picture of arrested development and chilling malevolence. They have full mouths and blind eyes of classical statuary.
Like statues. Lifeless.
Suggesting a perfect but lifeless beauty, yeah. And their lips turned up in a way that suggested they were about to laugh or cry out in pain, implying this perpetual state of agony or maybe twisted delight. It's ambiguous and horrible.
So, not happy children playing.
Far from it. Ultimately, as Vic later observes when she encounters one, there's nothing left in them but hate and teeth. Pure, unadulterated malevolence.
Teeth.
The sources also detail encounters with what seem like ice statues of children. these frozen figures. Like William Delman, whose tragic backstory is summarized in this chilling little rhyme Manx apparently recites. Billy only ever wanted to play, but his father didn't stay. His mother ran away. Drugs, knives, grief, and dismay. If only someone had saved the day.
He uses their trauma against them, even in his paradise.
It seems baked into the fabric of the place. Another child, Sarah Cho, is described as being buried in the ice with a clothesline twisted around her throat. A truly gruesome detail highlighting the reality of their salvation.
This is horrifying. How many children are there?
Manx claims to have saved some 70 children over his long existence, though he usually only rescues one child a year. Maybe two. It emphasizes the slow, deliberate, predatory nature of his harvest.
And Christmasland itself? Is it a physical place you can drive to?
It's complicated. Manx implies it's 20 hours of driving at least from their current location, but significantly, Bing, his accomplice, can only see it when you were asleep. This suggests its true accessibility is through a dream-like, altered state of consciousness. It's a true escape.
So it exists outside normal space-time?
It seems so. Christmasland, as a manifestation of Manx's warped worldview, is a complete self-contained pocket reality. Children aren't saved there. They're eternally trapped in this state of arrested, monstrous development, forever serving his twisted vampiric desires. It's a place where childhood innocence is perverted into eternal malevolence, a dark reflection of Manx's own soul.
And the car, the Wraith. You said it's more than just a tool. It has its own sentience.
It certainly seems that way. It's practically a living, malevolent entity, an extension of Manx's will, but maybe with some terrifying agency of its own. We get a chilling glimpse of this through the terrifying experience of a woman named Michelle Demeter and her father, Nathan. They acquired the car at an FBI auction, believe it or not.
The FBI auctioned off this supernatural weapon.
Apparently so. Maybe they didn't understand what they had. So Nathan attempts to restore it. He envisions it as this magnificent vehicle for his daughter to take to prom. He even promises her a hell of a thing to have it completely restored so you could take it to the prom.
A nice father-daughter project. Gone wrong.
Horribly wrong. The Wraith actively resists his efforts to control it. It becomes an immediate, independent antagonist. It starts playing Jingle Bell Rock at top volume, regardless of Nathan's input, even though it's May. A jarring intrusion of Christmasland's theme into his reality.
Just starts playing Christmas music on its own.
At top volume. Then it slams its door shut, locks them, and terrifyingly takes complete malevolent control of the steering and ignition.
It drives itself, with him inside.
Yes. The car is described as moving like a panther, this unstoppable force. It drags Nathan into its own escape, forcing him to witness a pale mountain range that had not been there this morning appear on the horizon. A visual bleed-through from Christmasland itself.
He sees Christmasland.
Or at least its geography imposing itself on his reality. The car's physical state, no carpet, holes in floor, missing back window, and a char mark where it looked as if someone had tried to light a campfire. Inside it hints at its dark and violent past. A history of suffering ingrained in its very being.
And the hood ornament.
Ah, yes. The hood ornament is described as a creepy silver lady with blind eyes bearing the demented grin of a madwoman. A disturbing harbinger, the grotesque face of the car's true nature.
So this experience with Nathan Demeter.
It powerfully demonstrates that the knife, the totem, can sometimes act independently. Or maybe it's just so deeply imbued with a strong creating's will and escape that it can forcefully impose its reality on others, regardless of their own will or resistance. It profoundly underscores the danger of these totems and the sheer, overwhelming power of the escape they embody. It transforms a mere object into an active, malevolent force.
Okay, so we have these powerful forces, these escapes, Manx, Bing. Now let's bring Vic back into the picture. How do their paths intersect? This feels inevitable, doesn't it?
Tragically inevitable, yes.
Yeah.
Our sources take us back to 1996. Vic is a teenager now, rebellious, deliberately seeking trouble, as the source puts it, a dangerous curiosity.
She's looking for trouble with her bridge.
It seems so, maybe subconsciously testing its limits or just escaping her life.
Yeah.
And her bridge, the shorter way, leads her straight to Manx's sleigh house.
Oh no, directly to him.
Directly into the lion's den. This is her first direct, terrifying confrontation with the Wraith and its chilling, all-consuming reality.
Oh, wow.
The encounter is incredibly visceral and chaotic. It truly marks the violent beginning of Vic's long, arduous struggle against Manx. She enters this awful place, the sleigh house, and is immediately hit by the unsettling sound of Christmas music when it was nearly summer. That jarring wrongness again.
A signature of Manx's presence.
Seems to be. Inside, she finds one of the transformed children in Manx's car, described as unnaturally cold. A boy whose mouth was full of little hooks, rows of them, each as small and delicate as a sewing needle.
Little hooks? Oh, that's grotesque.
Truly terrifying imagery. Vic then gets into this desperate battle with Manx himself. And in a final desperate act of self-preservation, she sets the house on fire.
So burns it down.
She starts a fire, yeah, and makes this harrowing escape through a laundry chute, a dark, narrow metal shaft filled with smoke and the maddening echo of Christmas music. Have a holly jolly fucking Christmas, as she thinks while escaping.
Wow, she fights back hard.
She does. But she doesn't escape unscathed. She suffers this lingering, painful, cold burn on her wrist from touching the transformed child. A lasting physical scar that serves as this undeniable, chilling reminder of the supernatural encounter.
A physical mark from the escape?
Exactly. This scene is absolutely critical because it immediately establishes Vic as Manx's primary antagonist. She's the one who got away. A unique challenge to his dominion, an anomaly in his monstrous routine.
The one that fought back and escaped.
Right. She's rescued afterwards by Louis Carmody, described as a fat delinquent she knew from school. And the official story that later forms around the event, one of a typical abduction and escape it, completely masks the supernatural truth.
So people just think she was kidnapped by a normal predator.
Yes. And this new truth, though a complete fabrication in its details, it serves as a vital coping mechanism for Vic. It allows her to process an otherwise incomprehensible horror within the confines of mundane reality. It really highlights her struggle later on to reconcile her extraordinary experiences with a world that simply refuses to believe them.
But the terror doesn't end there, does it? You mentioned the shadows of Christmasland are long.
They are incredibly insidious. Even years later, as Vic enters adulthood, she becomes an unwed mother, living in a double-wide trailer with Lou, the same guy who rescued her.
Lou Carmody. They end up together.
Yeah, they do. Even then, the specter of Christmasland continues to haunt her, intruding into her seemingly mundane life. She starts receiving these chilling phone calls.
Phone calls? From who?
From the children Manx has taken. Calls that seem to literally bridge the gap between their twisted escape and her perceived reality.
Calls from dead or transformed children? How is that possible?
The sources describe these calls not just as psychological manifestations of trauma, but as terrifyingly tangible and deeply intrusive. The phone she uses, a business line nobody usually calls, it becomes painfully cold to the touch when they ring. Her palm leaves a pale frost halo on the plastic.
Physical cold. From a phone call.
Yes. And a chilling, white breath of frozen air seethed through the small holes in the earpiece. It indicates a physical, undeniable manifestation of Christmasland's influence bleeding directly into her world.
That's terrifying. What do they say?
The disembodied voices of singing children are heard in the background, this macabre chorus. They demand food. They ask, with this chilling innocence, when is Daddy coming back to Christmasland? Daddy, meaning Manx.
Oh, God.
And they threaten her, too. These calls are vividly described as being just as real as what's happening in New York this morning during the 9/11 attacks. That detail is incredibly unsettling, blurring the line between a global catastrophe and her intensely personal supernatural torment.
It connects her horror to real-world events. Makes it undeniable.
Exactly. And Vic's desperate, almost frantic attempts to silence them, cutting phone lines, unplugging every receiver, even at one point burning phones in the oven. They just underscore the very real and intrusive nature of these calls. They're not merely memories. They feel like direct communications from Manx's escape.
She can't escape them.
They demonstrate Christmasland's continued influence and Manx's malevolent reach, constantly blurring the line between Vic's perceived reality and the chilling world of the escape, forcing her to confront the horror she thought she had escaped. It's a profound illustration of how the escape can reach out, tormenting its survivors, refusing to let them simply forget or dismiss it.
Okay, this is getting intense, but here's where things get even more complicated, right? You mentioned another strong creative, Maggie Lee.
Yes, Maggie. This is where our deep dive truly gets interesting, philosophically speaking. Maggie Lee, a librarian from here, Iowa, reappears in Vic's life years later. And Maggie reveals herself to be another strong creative, using a seemingly innocuous object as her knife.
Another knife? What does she use?
Maggie's totem is a humble bag of Scrabble tiles.
Scrabble tiles? Seriously?
Seriously. She carries them as earrings, keeps the bag close, and she uses them as a unique tool. She explains, with this distinct stammer she has, that she can use them to access otherwise unreachable facts, to, as she puts it, cut the stitches between the two worlds, allowing her to pull information from the unseen currents of reality.
So she's like a psychic librarian using Scrabble tiles.
Kind of, yeah. It sounds quirky, but her ability allows her to bring crucial, disturbing information about Charlie Manx directly to Vic. Information that Vic's own suppressed, maybe delusional memories then begin to confirm with terrifying accuracy.
What's Maggie like?
Her physical description is quite distinctive. She wears an old-timey fedora, the Scrabble tiles as earrings, and has a distinctive punk haircut. A real blend of the traditional and the rebellious. She's got this earthy perspective, too. She humorously describes the library where she works as the biggest whorehouse in the county, where books are girls. She whaps on the butts and sends them off to their tricks.
Okay, she sounds like a character.
Definitely. And the Scrabble tiles she consults, they spell out these phrases that are initially puzzling but eventually horrifyingly specific, like the brat could find the wraith.
The brat, meaning Vivek.
Clearly meaning Vic, directly and unmistakably linking her to Manx in his car. The significance here is profound. Maggie's very existence and her demonstrably real abilities, they seem to powerfully validate the magic bridge narrative of Vic's past.
The story Vic thought was a delusion.
Exactly. Maggie provides this external, undeniable confirmation of the strong creative phenomenon that Vic herself had previously dismissed as a mere coping mechanism, a grand delusion. Her knife, the tiles, functions similarly to Vic's bicycle, but with a different purpose, accessing alternative realities and hidden truths. It proves that Vic's fantasies were, in fact, terrifyingly real.
Which must throw Vic into even more confusion.
Precisely. Because this brings us to that profound, almost philosophical conflict within Vic's own mind regarding the true nature of her experiences back in 1996. Was she a helpless victim, kidnapped and assaulted? Or did she actively seek out Charlie Manx, confronting him on her own terms using her bridge?
The two conflicting memories.
Yes. The source material presents two distinct memories, both feeling equally true to her. It creates this powerful paradox at the very heart of our understanding of this world, of truth itself within this context.
How does Vic describe it?
She herself explicitly grapples with these two memories. She insists both seem true, equally vivid, equally emotionally resonant. One is the official version, the one she meticulously told the federal prosecutor later. A fight with her mother, running away, being kidnapped, sexually assaulted, mentioning a stinging in her backside, locked in Manx's trunk for 2 days before collapsing into his arms. That's the narrative of the victim, a conventional, understandable horror story.
The one that fits the real world.
Right. The other is what she comes to call her empowerment fantasy. Riding her Raleigh bicycle across the Shorter-Way Bridge, actively seeking trouble, specifically looking for a way out of her mundane, unhappy life, finding Manx's sleigh house, battling him directly, setting the fire, and making that daring escape through the laundry chute. This is the version where she is the hero, not the victim. A testament to her agency, her power.
So victim versus hero, both feel real to her.
Both feel completely real. She articulates this profound internal conflict while she's in a mental hospital later on, self-diagnosing her own condition. She says, "My story about the magic bridge is a classic empowerment fantasy. I couldn't bear the thought of being a victim, so I invented this vast delusion to make me the hero of the story, complete with a whole set of memories of things that never happened."
She believes the bridge story is the delusion.
At that point, yes. She believes her medication acts as a paperweight, pinning these fantasies down. But any strong wind that comes along, I can feel them rattling around, trying to slip free. This presents that core paradox within the source material. We're told to treat all this content as factual, yet the protagonist herself believes crucial parts of her story are delusions.
So how do we, as readers or listeners, reconcile that?
That's the million-dollar question. It seems the truth here is multifaceted. It encompasses both external verifiable events, like presumably something traumatic happened involving Manx, and the incredibly powerful internal landscapes, the inscapes of these strong creatives. The crucial fact is Maggie Lee. She's a demonstrably real external character who tracks Vic down years later, and she confirms key elements of Vic's supposed delusion. The bridge exists, the wraith is real, Manx is a road vampire.
Maggie's reality validates Vic's fantasy.
It strongly suggests that Vic's fantasies might actually be alternative, equally valid realities coexisting with a more mundane truth. The delusion is just as potent, just as real in its effects as the accepted reality. In the world of strong creatives, maybe the very act of believing it, of needing it, makes it so.
That really messes with your idea of objective truth.
Completely. This phenomenon deepens the mystery, leaving us, the listeners, to question the very fabric of what is real when human imagination holds such profound, reality-bending power. Is a deeply felt delusion? Less real if it manifests physically for others, like Mr. Hughley, or is confirmed by someone like Maggie. It pushes us to consider that reality itself might be far more fluid, far more subjective than we typically assume.
Okay, so Vic is grappling with this.
No.
What happens next? This inevitably leads to a final confrontation, doesn't it?
It does, a final devastating collision. Despite being pronounced dead, officially dead, from a degenerative Parkinson's-like illness, a mundane medical diagnosis, Charlie Manx miraculously reappears.
He comes back from the dead.
We learn his body was grotesquely stolen from the morgue by this disgruntled security guard named Hicks, who, rather unbelievably, was apparently more interested in taking inappropriate photos with dead serial killers than in actually doing his job properly.
You're kidding. A morgue attendant stole Manx's body.
A security guard, yeah.
Hicks.
Manx's resurrection is truly one of the most shocking and disturbing events documented. He reappears described as pale, starved-looking, bright-eyed, and bloody. A truly ghastly figure. And he's riding in a Trans Am with zebra print upholstery and a big silver hammer propped next to him on the passenger seat.
A Trans Am, not the Wraith, and a hammer.
Yeah, a disturbing blend of the mundane and the monstrous. This reemergence isn't random, though. It's part of his relentless, vengeful pursuit of Vic, and more specifically now, her son, Wayne.
He's going after her child.
Yes. Manx and Bing stake out Vic's house with a singular, chilling purpose. Manx explicitly states his goal, leaving no room for doubt. You stole my children away from me with your lies, and now I claim yours from you.
Retribution, pure and simple.
Exactly. Yeah. Hicks, the guard who inadvertently facilitated this, is characterized as deeply flawed, fired previously for public drunkenness, lax security habits, even emailed inappropriate photos of Manx's corpse to a colleague named Sasha. He even notes Manx's ghastly overbite and crooked brown teeth, even in death, a detail highlighting the innate strangeness of Manx.
So Hicks is just incompetent background noise to Manx's return.
Pretty much. Once Manx is somehow resurrected, Bing, ever the loyal Renfield, meticulously patched him up, got him clothes, and presumably helped him get the Wraith running again. This impossible resurrection sets the stage for Manx's ultimate act of vengeance, demonstrating the profound, almost supernatural resilience of his twisted will and the enduring, malevolent power of his escape, even seemingly from beyond the grave.
Which leads to the abduction of Wayne.
Yes. The narrative culminates in the abduction of Vic's son, Wayne, by Manx and Bing at Lake Winnipesaukee. This event unleashes a chain reaction of tragedy and desperate heroism. It lays bare the immense human costs of Manx's malevolent escape bleeding into the everyday world. It's truly heartbreaking.
What happens at the lake?
The scene is just gut-wrenching. A stark reminder of the innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Wayne's beloved pet dog, Hooper, is tragically struck by the Wraith. Its death is described with this chilling, visceral detail. Its legs stuck out straight from its body. Its left eye was open, staring up at the sky, filmy and dull, but as Wayne approached, it moved to track him. A final, poignant moment of connection and agony.
Oh, the poor kid, seeing that.
It emphasizes the immediate, tangible horror. Then Wayne makes this frantic phone call to his father, Lou, describing his terrifying predicament being trapped in the car and hearing gunshots as the gas mask man, Bing, fires at Vic who's trying to stop them. It's chaos.
He uses his gas again.
Yes, his signature gingerbread smoke, sevoflurane to disorient Wayne. That's why the boy feels disoriented and lost his bearings. It's this insidious method highlighting Bing's methodical cruelty.
And Lou, Wayne's father.
Lou's reaction, hearing this unfold over the phone while he's at Logan Airport, is desperate and ultimately tragic. He suffers a fatal heart attack while trying to get help, trying to call the police or Vic. His death is described with shocking, visceral detail, likening the sensation to a staple gun into one tit, collapsing, sprawling into a cold, sweet puddle of vanilla ice cream someone had dropped.
Oh my God. That's brutal.
It is. And his last thoughts, reflecting on his weight, something he was self-conscious about, and his desperate love for Wayne, they just underscore the immense human cost, the raw emotion unleashed by Manx's supernatural actions. Lou's death is a direct, tragic consequence of this collision between the mundane world and Manx's malevolent reality, a sacrifice born of love in the face of incomprehensible evil.
Leaving Vic alone to face Manx and save her son?
Essentially, yes. And finally, Vic, despite her previous internal struggles, her lingering physical injuries, the overwhelming grief of losing Lou, she summons this incredible resolve. She gets on her restored Triumph motorcycle, her knife once more, and rides back to confront Manx. This is her ultimate desperate stand.
Her bike again. It always comes back to the knife.
It's her conduit. her power. And she, already severely injured from earlier encounters, remember the cold burn on her wrist, the cracked shoulder, a pulverized spine, though miraculously the source is she can still feel her legs, and that steady stabbing pain in her left eyeball from the bridge use.
She's been through hell physically.
And yet she fights Manx and Bing with this incredible, almost superhuman ferocity. Her Triumph motorcycle, which Wayne had helped her restore, becomes her weapon, her vehicle into that hidden reality of the Wraith. She wields a Triumph wrench, shaped like a curved knife, using it not just as a tool, but as a weapon. She lashes out, wounding Manx, slashing at his face and eyes.
She wounds Manx badly.
Badly enough that Manx himself, in a moment of chilling self-pity recorded later, recounts her effectiveness. "You have made a hash out of my face, and my companion here has managed to shoot off my ear." He even has this grotesque, dangling red strings of ear as a testament to her attack.
Wow. But Bing shoots her.
Bing shoots her, yes. But she still manages to escape the immediate threat, again demonstrating her profound resilience. However, despite Vic's incredible bravery and effectiveness in wounding Manx severely, Wayne is gone, taken deeper into Christmasland.
So she doesn't get him back then?
Not then. And the police investigation that follows is just frustratingly slow and completely inadequate. It demonstrates their inherent inability to comprehend the true supernatural nature of what happened. They mistake the Wraith for a simple limo, Manx for an ordinary kidnapper. They entirely miss the profound reality of his escape.
They can't see the real story.
Not at all. Vic desperately insists on the license plate NOS4A2 and its chilling meaning, trying to convey the deeper truth, but the dispatcher is just overwhelmed, unable to grasp the supernatural implications of a Rolls-Royce from the 30s with a vanity plate spelling Nosferatu. It's too much.
It highlights that ongoing, frustrating struggle, doesn't it? Between those who perceive these hidden realities and those who are tragically blind to them, trapped by mundane explanations.
Exactly. It's a reminder that sometimes the truth is simply too strange, too terrifying for the everyday world to accept.
What an incredible, unsettling deep dive into the intertwined lives of Victoria McQueen, Charles Talent Manx, Bing Partridge, and this whole extraordinary concept of strong creatives and their escapes.
Yeah.
We've seen how intensely personal internal worlds can manifest with just devastating external consequences. How a knife can be anything from a kid's bicycle to a bag of Scrabble tiles, or even an antique Rolls Royce, each capable of cutting those stitches between worlds and twisting reality itself.
Indeed. And we've explored that chilling idea that evil can be born from a profoundly distorted vision of good, as we saw so clearly in Manx's perverse sense of salvation and Bing's twisted devotion. And we've also witnessed how deeply traumatic events can shape not just a person's life, but their very perception of reality. Powerfully exemplified by Vic's conflicting memories, the kidnapping versus the empowerment fantasy, both presented in the source material as equally impactful, equally real to her, which leaves us pondering the very nature of truth itself when human imagination holds such immense power.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If strong creatives can weave their inner worlds into the very fabric of reality, if their escapes can become tangible and affect others, how much of what we perceive every day might already be shaped by someone else's powerful, unseen escape? What hidden truths might be lurking just beyond our everyday vision, just waiting for the right knife to cut them into view?
And this raises, I think, an important question for you, our listener. In a world where imagination can literally bend reality, and where a protagonist's own intensely felt delusion is validated by external characters and events, how do you truly determine what's real and what's merely a meticulously constructed, deeply felt delusion? And what if, in the deepest, most unsettling sense, the very act of believing it, of creating it, makes it so? Where does that leave us?
A lot to think about. Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable and frankly quite disturbing deep dive. We hope you'll continue to explore these fascinating frontiers of knowledge with us. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the world around you.